Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about Kubernetes pods in terms of command line. So we have discussed enough in terms of the master creation and joining the worker nodes with the master. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the mastering pods, and in which we're going to discuss about creating command line pods. Well, so by default, it is always recommended to create pods using YAML file. But then if you are in an emergency and you just want to create one of the pod for testing purpose, you should also know about the way of creating pods in CLI. Now, a lot of people doesn't know about this simple method of creating these pods. So I'm going to tell you about this, and this is how we're going to start our mastering pods section. So now I'm going to run with a very simple pod over here where I'm going to initialize an HTTP service. So to do that, I am going to type kube control run web1. I'm going to give the name of my pod as web1. So that's how it is. -- image is equal to the image which I want to install, which is I'm going to use HTTPD here. -- restart is equal to never. So here I don't want the service to go restarted or done restarted. So I'm going to use this. So by default, it's going to create a command inside this so that it will use that command for it. So now kube control get pods. Now this is going to give me the output of the current pods I have. So I can see that there is one pod called web1 which is running currently. So now I can get more details using -o wide. So this is going to help me to understand more details about this particular pod which is running right now as web1. And you can see that this is the IP address which is assigned for this particular pod. So all I have to do to connect to this pod is there are two ways to connect to this pod, right? One way is to see the output of this pod. Like for example, as it's running HTTP service, I can actually browse and I can understand the context or the content which is running over here on this particular IP address. So that's one way of connecting to the pod. The other way is by connecting directly to the pod in terms of connecting to the container which is running on the pod. So which is using the similar command like what you used to do in terms of Docker. So let's do it one by one. The first one is let's try to browse this application by using this IP address. As I'm in the manager, it is easy for me to use it. So is the worker service because it all configured with the same series of IP addresses would have been configured on all these three servers. So I should be able to access it from anywhere else. But that I cannot access it from is from my desktop. So from my laptop or desktop, from the server, physical server, the operating system which runs on that, right? So that's basically where I cannot access this particular pod from. So that's very much a very straightforward and simple thing to talk about. So all I have to do right now is to run a command, wget, if it's already there. So let's see, wget is there. And then just type in the URL over here. http:// and then just the URL. As it's running on the default port number 80, you don't have to type a port number over here. So now you can see that I was connected to this file, and you can see the index.html got downloaded here. So if I open the index.html, you can see that it works. So I'm gonna do index.html rm. You can also use wget in terms of getting this output by giving this option right now on your screen. So what I'm going to do is rather than typing wget with the IP address, I'm going to type this particular command. I'm going to use the command curl. I'm going to use the same URL over here instead of wget. Wget is going to download the file. Curl is going to more or less display what the content is rather than downloading it. So you can see that it works as a is the application. So what if I run this from this worker node? You can see that similar output is coming, and similar output is coming over here as well. But what I cannot do is I cannot go to my command prompt over here on my system, and I cannot use the command prompt from my laptop and browse this because this is an internal IP address. So which means that this particular IP address is connected from all three different ways. Within my worker instance, within my manager instance, so it all connects with it. But anyways, we will be talking about some services later point of time which enables us to connect these these pods to the external network like my laptop. So we will talk about that later point of time in our training. So what I'm going to do right now is like the second way of accessing this image. So I'll like better get out from this folder. So just bear with me. Let's type in the kube control get ports again. So now you can see that there is one pod running. So what I can do right now is like I can connect with this pod in terms of how we used to connect the Docker container. The similar command is what I'm going to use here to connect. To connect to the Docker container, it's a very simple command. It's part of your document as well. So you use the same kubectl command. It's no change in that command. And then type exec. So this is the same exact thing which you would use for the Docker. And then you will also use something called IT, which is interactive method. And then you type in the name of the pod. And then you type like what command you want to run. So I want to run a bash. So let's go. So now you can see that the bash command is run. So now I am in the default folder, which is cat local apache 2. So inside this folder, I have the HT docs in which you have the index.html. So I'm going to change the index.html to whatever I want, like whatever I want. Oh, okay. That's weird. All right. That's all right. So that's some kind of whatever I want. So it's almost there. So it's just going to go with that. So exit that, and there you go. So that's another way of interacting with your pod which you have created. So if your pod has multiple interfaces or multiple containers under it, then we also have a way to interact with that container which is under your pod. So that is also another option which we will talk later, not right now, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another pod. So you can see that this is created in worker 1, so that's convenient. So when I create another pod, obviously it's going to create the worker 2 let me phrase that again. When I'm going to create another pod, it's obviously going to be created in worker 2. Why? Because worker 2 is the one which is free and it has no workload at this moment. The pod creation is quite autonomous, and it always sees the utilization of that particular node before it creates. So you want to know how it understands the utilization, right? If you just give kubectl nodes, right? So you will see, get nodes. Now you see that these are the nodes which you have, right? But if you just give, instead of get, you give describe. Describe nodes, you can see a lot of information coming in. So one of those information, as you can see over here, is the utilization of your CPU and memory. So all those kind of statistics for your worker 2, worker 1, managers, all captured over here. So it really can understand the free utilization of your system's capability. And then it basically assigns those resources or that particular pod to those servers which is kind of free or which has lesser workload on it, right? So this is how it basically assigns. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create my second container here. Let me rephrase that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another pod right now. So kube control get pods. Kube control, I'm going to run CentOS 1. So this is basically the name of the pod which I'm going to create right now. -image equal to CentOS. This is an operating system where I want just one operating system to be installed. -restart equal to never. -rm, which is going to remove this image after I quit this image, which means that it should be interactive. -it. And then what command I'm going to run right now is sh bash, whatever the command you want to run. So now this may take a little bit of time for you guys when you run this for the first time. As you know that for you guys, I always take a video before I do this video so that I can properly do the the training in front of you. So that's why it's much faster for me. For you, it would take like some 10 to 20 seconds. It may look like it's hung. It's not. It's just downloading it, just not showing you that it's happening on the background. So once it's all done, then this should come to you. If not, then run the get pods again, see if there's any errors, and then we will have to analyze the error by going to the log file, which I've shown you on the previous section. So you have the shell prompt over here. You have the CentOS installed. I guess this is the CentOS. You can always see in the release. So uname -, yeah. So this will tell you. So this basically is a CentOS, operating system, which is a EL9. So this is CentOS 9, Stream 9. That's why it is EL9. So that's a very good thing. So now there are a lot of commands which is missing. So if you go to the bin folder, you can see that there are only very limited commands over here for you to run. So one of this command is wget curl. Okay, curl is there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do get pods here. So as you know that we are connected to the kubelet, so the kubelet can work with us and get pods works here as well. So I'm just going to run get pods here. So now here I have web1 and CentOS. Web1 is hosted on worker1 with this IP address, and worker2 has the CentOS hosted, which is with a different IP address, 2.4. Now, all I want to see is if I can browse this new content which I've added on this HTTP. Now, remember that we changed the content inside the htdocs file in the index.html on this web1 after logging into that. So I'm going to check if this content is viewable right now. So there you go. Whatever I want, so it's coming up. So which means that this guys can connect. So is everyone else inside here. So everyone here is happy and they are able to connect between each other. The problem with this particular CentOS is that when I exit it, it's going to be removed. So you can see the message over here, pod CentOS 1 deleted. So which means that this pod does not exist anymore. You can see that because I've given the option rm when I created it. So which means that the moment I exit it, or the command which I'm going to give over here is completed, then the pod will be automatically deleted. It's like those messages which James Bond receives, right, with his assignment, and then the message will auto delete itself. So something like that. And this is some feature which we've already seen on Docker. So this is not something new. Well, so going about the third container, let me rephrase that. The third pod which I want to create is what I'm going to do right now, is basically having a command executing while you create this pod. So I'm going to use the same CentOS one because the CentOS pod is not there anymore. So I'm going to use the same thing, same operating system, restart as never. And then instead of interactive mode, I'm going to go with the shell mode. So here I'm going to give something like -sh, and then I'm going to give -c, wherein which I'm going to load a command over here. So echo pause this pod. Sleep. Sleep is a general shell command, shell option or a command. In shell, what sleep means is it will make this any kind of stuff go for sleep. So it's going to sleep for 8,000. So this command is going to be 8,000 seconds. It's going to sleep for 8,000 seconds. Is more than 2 hours. So this pod should be available for 2 hours for you. And then just click on that and you can see that this has gone on the background. And then when I give get pods, you can see that it is currently running. The CentOS is running. You can also give -o wide. And you can see the CentOS is running right now. So all I have to do is to access this or to connect to this CentOS operating system. All I have to do is kubectl exec -it, name of the pod, then bash or sh, whatever the command gets you inside. Now when you do a ps-ef grep of, I got the spelling wrong. So you can see that process is still running, and it is running as a as a first process of this. So normally this is like the first process of your system. So it's one of the first processes of your system, because that's the whole purpose of the system to even exist, right? So so you can see that the command is still running on the background. Let's do the curl and see if this works on this new system. So there you go, whatever I want. So that's pretty much I wanted to show you or cover on this video. One more thing I want to tell you on this video before we go ahead. I've created a for loop for you guys. All you have to do is like copy paste this for loop, and that's going to delete all the CentOS which you have, or all the pods which you're going to have right now on your system. So it's just currently deleting the CentOS 1, then it will remove the web pod as well. So likewise, it will delete all these pods, and then it will should be giving the prompt back to you. I'm not sure why it's taking too much time for deleting this one, but yeah, that should get it deleted. Well, it took a bit of time, and then you can see the web one is also deleted. So use this script for doing the deletion. Do remember, don't use this on production or any of your office environment, because that's going to remove all your pods which you have, and then don't blame me for that. Thank you again for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.